So I really want to talk to you about all the possibilities that you need to think about. So in today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the Navy Federal Business Membership for a new ALC. Okay. So how do you get your application approved super fast? No questions asked.
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower with a stinging killer beat, but the rhythms getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about Navy Fed Business Membership for new ALC. How do you get your application approved? Super fast, no questions asked, okay? So here are the steps. In this show, we love to have we need to codify things. We need to have a formula for success. So I want you to see the steps you need to follow to make sure that you are approved in no time. First thing is you need to become a personal member. If you are already a member, I want you to fast forward this video by 2 or 3 minutes. But if you are new to Navy Fed, you just want to know more about the process, I want you to actually follow through this section. So you need to actually be a personal member before you can apply for business membership. This is very important. First of all, if you want, this is a military credit union. And but you can apply. You don't have to be you don't have to be a serviceman, or you don't have to be in the army. Okay, you can actually be a civilian, but there are things you need to actually follow to actually qualify. So you can qualify biologically, professionally, or through geographic ties. Okay, it's very important. Navy Fed, members of our team have been members of Navy Fed for 30 years. So we're sharing with you here things that you have to do to actually qualify, okay? And the thing here is that, so if you are, so active duty members, reservists, veterans, retirees, and annuitants of the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard, they are basically part of they can be part of Navy Fed, not a problem. If you are, so Army and Air National Guard personnel, also delayed entry program personnel, DoD civilians, U.S. government employees assigned to DoD installations, contractors assigned to DoD installations, and family members of all of the above. So really, it's possible for 90 to 95% of the American population to qualify, okay? But one thing for sure, signing up is very easy, okay? If you are ready to join, if you want to apply for membership, you can actually give them a call at 1-888-842-6328, or you can visit a branch to apply in person. The cool thing is that the Navy Fed rep will actually look at your information and will let you know if you qualify or not for membership. Just don't forget, you need to have your social security number, your driver's license, your current home address, credit card or bank account, and routing information, routing number to fund your account, and your email address, okay? But so that's the first thing. First thing is, if you're looking to apply for membership, business membership, you first need to become a personal member. The second thing I want you to really do, boss, if you are listening to this, I want you to have a legit business, because Navy Fed is going to check everything. They are very granular when it comes to checking things, okay? They go in detail. Very important. So you have to think about your legal structure. So you are obviously an LLC, okay? You want to ascertain that. You need to corroborate that. How do you corroborate it? Okay, how do you confirm that? You got to have articles of organization. Okay, so because they look at the foundational paperwork, the foundational elements of your LLC. And part of that is a part of that foundational construct is your articles of organization. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you want to ask the Department of State in the state where you're incorporated, and they will send you everything that you send them. Okay, or you can talk, if you talk to a third, if you actually outsource the whole thing to a third party, let's say LegalZoom or Nerd or Zen Business, ask them to provide you with your articles of organization. That's number one. Number two, you have your operating agreements, okay? And this says a lot about how you intend to operate your business, who does what, when money is made, how is it distributed, all that kind of stuff, okay? It's called your operating agreement. The third thing is you need to have your EIN, very important. We're talking about your employer identification number, okay? This is like your company's social security number, and you get that from the IRS. It's very important because I'm talking to you about all the things that constitute, that actually will surround you will surround your business, your LLC, with, in our view, a veneer of transparency, a veneer of legitimacy, and you want that. You need to have that veneer of legitimacy, okay? So that you are so that Navy Fed looks at your LLC and they think, okay, this company is good. I mean, they are legit, okay? You got to have a business bank account also, and don't forget, very important, you need to have your certificate of good standing from the state or the Department of State where you incorporated. Very important, because your certificate of good standing tells Navy Fed, okay, you are in compliance with all the laws and regulations that your state authorities have in place. Okay, very important. And those things, I'm telling you, those things don't take a lot. Now, if you don't have any of these things, or you don't have if you don't have any of these things, please make sure that you actually have them before you apply, because they are going to ask you anyway. So you want to take your time to gather all the required paperwork before applying for a business membership at Navy Federal Credit Union. Speaking of good standing, there are actually two ways to analyze good standing. And those two ways are very important when we talk about Navy Fed business membership, okay? The first part is the individual members of your LLC should have accounts in good standing with Navy Fed. If you're a single member LLC, that's fine. It's only you, okay? Not a problem. Or if you are a sole proprietorship, that's only you. But if you are a multi-member LLC, make sure that all owners, all beneficial owners, they have accounts in good standing. In other words, there's no NSF events, there's no non-sufficient fund event, there's no overdraft, all that kind of stuff. Okay, it's because your application will be denied if you have a member of your LLC that has their accounts not in good standing. You don't want that. Okay, and so that's the first part. So when we talk about good standing, we have two parts. I told you the first part is having accounts that are in good standing. Second part is you need to get a certificate of good standing from your state authorities. Okay, so your LLC must have a certificate of good standing. So what is that? Sometimes when you hear the terms certificate of good standing, letter of good standing, certificate of status, or a certificate of legal existence, those phrases are interchangeable. They are synonymous, okay? And they mean the same thing. So this just means that your LLC is in compliance. In other words, in good standing with the state that you does business in. Very important, okay? And one thing I want to say here is that this kind of good standing letter verifies that your business, your LLC, was formed legally, has been properly maintained, and is still active. This is really important. Don't confuse that with the certificate of tax status or tax compliance, which shows that your LLC is up to date on all its state tax filings and payments. Very important, okay? And most companies except sole proprietorships are eligible for this kind of certificate of good standing, okay? And you need this good standing letter because the banks just want to make sure that they're doing business with a legit business. Okay, you need it for opening a business bank account, applying for business loans, soliciting funds from potential investors, registering to do business in a different state, contracting with another company, transferring or selling your business. Okay, and you can get a certificate of good standing from the local authorities. Okay, but if you don't have time, you can actually outsource the whole task to LegalZoom or Zen Business or any other LLC service. They'll take care of you. They're used to doing this kind of stuff, so they will actually just get things done faster. Of course, you're gonna have to pay them a nominal fee though. But if you are fine with that, just outsource the whole thing. The fourth step you need to pay attention to in this process is called the pre-application. So that's what Navy Fed calls pre-application. So you need to sign in with your personal Navy Fed credentials to access the business membership pre-application form. Okay, for confidentiality reason, we're not allowed by Navy Fed to show this membership, the business membership pre-application form. Okay, we do have the form though, but we're not allowed to actually show it to you. And so if you need information, if you have any question, just drop us a comment or drop us a question under our YouTube video, and we'll be able to answer any questions you have. But the pre-application form basically talks about your business information, your personal information, but also your business information, when it was created, all that kind of stuff. They also talk a little bit about the balance sheet and income statement. Those are projected though, so because this is a new LLC. But the bottom line is just make sure that you complete all fields in the business membership pre-application. So once you log in, you'll see that. And you also need to compile all appropriate documentation for your business type and have everything ready to reference. One thing I want to say here is that if you are an Fed employee and you are applying for a business membership, you need to send an e-message to request review of your application. Okay. So big decision time, boss. Big decision time. Are you ready to apply for a business membership? Okay, if you are, do you see the business membership pre-application form? In other words, have you logged into your account and do you see the pre-application form? Okay, if you say yes to this, one thing I want you to make sure is that you need to actually block at least 30 minutes to 1 hour of your time to actually fill the application. The application asks very straightforward questions. However, you want to take the time to actually do everything correctly, because you don't want to start asking. You don't want Navy Fed to start asking you. We need this information. We need the information. This is it's just a waste of time. So you want to do things beforehand. Make sure that you have all the information needed beforehand. And one thing I also need to tell you is that it's always good to give them a call. If you're stuck somewhere during the process, give them a call. Ask questions. Nobody will ever kill you because you're asking questions. No. And it's also good because you avoid mistakes. Let's talk about the paperwork. So one thing I want to say here is that a deposit of $250 for sole proprietorships and $255 for all separate legal entities such as LLCs and corporations is required at the time of opening. So you got to have that money. Okay, very important. And you have a constellation of documents that you need to submit with while opening your business account. Okay, now those documents actually vary based on the LLC. Now based on the LLC, based on the company structure. Obviously, in today's conversation, we are talking about LLCs. However, I want to actually specify what kind of paperwork is needed depending on the business structure that you have. Okay, so for sole proprietorship, they just need your federal tax ID number letter, so your EIN letter. They want you to have a valid business license, business permits, or fictitious name certificate, or certificate of assumed name. That's for sole proprietorship. For a general partnership, they want you to have your federal tax ID number letter, beneficial owner forms. In other words, people who are behind the business. Okay, you can actually ask questions all the time. Okay, Navy Fed reps will assist you with completing this form if you need help. And they want you to have a valid business license, business permits, or a fictitious name certificate or certificate of assumed name. That's for a general partnership. For a limited partnership, they want you to have a good standing certificate, federal tax ID number letter, beneficial owner form, and fictitious name certificate. For corporation, so this applies to S corporation and C corporation. So we have a good standing certificate. Okay, we are talking about a federal tax ID number letter. But we have a beneficial owner form, and we have a fictitious name certificate. For your LLC, you also need a good standing certificate, and this should be filed stamped within 60 days before the date of application. 60 days. Okay, I want you to write that down. They want you to have your federal tax ID number letter, your TIN letter, your beneficial owner form, and your fictitious name certificate. One thing I want to say here is that during the application process, if you are stuck, and I said this before, don't hesitate. Okay, don't you want to I'm going to do this by myself, whatever. You want to give them a call directly and ask questions. Okay, so that you know what you're doing and you're not wasting time. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation today about your Navy Federal business membership and how do you get approved super fast, okay? And I want to talk to you now about your beneficial owners, because we hear this term all the time. What does it really mean? You know, what is a beneficial owner? This is an individual who directly or indirectly owns 25% or more of a business entity, and one individual with significant responsibility for controlling or managing the company. So what I'm trying to say here is that somebody who has a 5% equity in your LLC can actually, but if they have a controlling and managing power over the entity, they could be a beneficial owner information. Now, Navy Fed gathers all the info, they collect that info because they are trying to help the government fight financial crime, anti-money laundering, okay? And so federal regulation requires certain financial institutions to obtain, verify, and record information about the beneficial owners of legal entity customers. Very important, okay? And the thing here is that Navy Fed has a form called the NFCU 98, and this is called a certification regarding beneficial owners of legal entity customers. And so they have this form. You need to fill this form as part of the application submission package, okay? And the thing here is that if you have any question, again, if you have any question, you can call Navy Fed at 1-877-418-1462, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. So you can speak to someone, okay? And the thing here is that they require business owner information anytime you are a business entity requests to open a new membership, deposit, or credit account, or when there is a change in ownership. So this is kind of important, okay? And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about this does not apply only to LLCs, though. It applies to corporations, it applies to limited partnerships, general partnerships, business trust, or any other entity created by a filing with a state office, okay? And one thing that's really good is that if you are a sole proprietor, you don't need to provide any kind of beneficial ownership information, okay? Because if you think about it, sole proprietorships are not legal entities and therefore not required to submit beneficial owner information. I just want to specify that, you know, because, but if you are a single member LLC, you have to provide that information, okay? Even though from a tax perspective, if you're a sole proprietorship or you are a single member LLC, it's kind of similar, but you need to provide that data if you are an LLC. Before I close today's conversation, let me give you a few extra info, and this is important to have so that you have a clear idea what we're talking about. You need to provide something called a fictitious name certificate, okay? You basically, and this is also, sometimes it's called certificate of assumed name, okay? And you can obtain a copy. So just contact your state or local officials, okay? And basically, the Secretary of State, county clerk, or city hall where your DBA was registered is often a good starting point for obtaining copies of your documents. Okay, we are speaking about fictitious name certificate or certificate of assumed names. And what is a good standing certificate? I spoke about that earlier. You can actually obtain a copy of that document from the Secretary of State in the state in which your business was formed. Okay, and during the application process, Navy Fed will ask you about your NAICS code. Now, what is NAICS? NAICS stands for the North American Industry Classification System. Okay, so this is, when you really think about it, it's actually a standard that a lot of federal statistical agencies use to classify business establishments for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, and publishing statistical data, okay, that relate to the U.S. economy. So one thing for sure is that NAICS actually groups industries in 20 broad sectors that are identified by a 6-digit code. So your job is to make sure that you go to NAICS website and find out which category you're in. And actually, Navy Fed wants to have that information during the application process, okay? And they also want you to have your EIN, okay? And you can actually get an EIN from the IRS. So EIN, when you hear the term EIN or Federal Tax Identification Number, they are interchangeable. They mean the same thing, okay? And you can call the IRS if you want to get your EIN letter. You can call the IRS at 1-800-829 4933, or you can contact Navy Fed, okay, at 1-877-418-1462 within the next 2 business days after completing all the application, and they'll help you out with whatever issue you have, okay? It's very important. Now, remember that the reps are available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Eastern, okay? So make sure that you also make sure that the whole process could take up to an hour, okay? Because they have to verify your information, they have to set you up, they have a lot of stuff to do. So make sure that you are patient when you call. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was talking to you about Navy Federal Business Membership. How do you actually apply so you can get it approved super fast? So we spoke to you about personal membership, legit business, okay, good standing, pre-application, the paperwork needed, the beneficial owners, and the extra info that you need to understand. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.